Good morning, bonjour, or bon après-midi, guten Tag, bom dia, and so on and so on and so forth. Thanks for joining me today on this 2285th episode of the Trader Bite. It's 8:02 a.m. Chicago time on the 2nd of August, Tuesday. Um, oh yeah, there are many. Thanks for being here. Derivatives trading is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Quite a bit to cover today, but we're gonna keep it succinct. Succinct, good word. Mild risk off so far. We're seeing that the S&P is basically traded almost entirely below yesterday's complete and utter balance. We're shifting to the downside. The ES, we'll look at it in a minute, but the ES has um, a beautifully hugging relationship with its overnight VWAP so far. But mild risk off is the risk exposure. Today, we do have some geopolitics in play here with the U.S. Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, the best stock trader of all time, um, traveling to Taiwan despite many, many warnings by the Chinese government not to do so. And now this morning we have these military exercises by China. And we have airplanes that are stalking the dividing line between China and Taiwan, and so on and so forth. What does that mean for us? Watch the news. The news is critical today and going forward. So make sure you have your news feed. If you're part of convergent trading, it is very useful to have your news feed up and running um, while you're trading. Don't have to listen to every little thing, but if there's a big move, the news, it's not like we're going to be able to trade the news before it happens or as it happens, just not fast enough. That's not the goal of the news, but it helps bring into context what the movement is about. Just like we saw yesterday with the big drop on this announcement that Pelosi's heading over, and we knew that this was a news-based drop, and it's very, very likely to turn around and push back to the SOC, which it did. So that's that. Watch for news. The RBA, the Reserve Bank of Australia, hiked 50 basis points this morning to push their rate to 1.85%. Even though the rate was pushed higher, they're a little bit they're lagging behind the U.S. and others. They did have dovish remarks. You have to keep an eye on the BOE on Thursday. We also have to make sure we keep an eye on what the ECB does, which seems to be behind the curve here in terms of hiking. And most of all, we got to keep an eye on the Bank of Japan in terms of money supply. OPEC meeting tomorrow. Crude is off today. Crude trading down a little bit, 25 cents. It's in a holding pattern in balance this morning, and so that's that. So what about earnings? We had BP, Marathon, Caterpillar, Uber, and Marriott as the majors. Pre-market, after the market, we're looking for Prudential, Starbucks, AMD, Gilead, Markel, and Electronic Arts. What's on the calendar for today? We're looking for U.S. JOLTS job openings for June. This is a significant number for the Fed. Looking for 11 million jobs still open. The prior is 11.254. This is one of the key metrics that the Fed is paying attention to. How many job openings are there? How much demand is there for human resources? So that may be a mover. We have Fed's Evans, and then we get the crude oil stock change, the API stock change at 4:30. Global Services PMI final, which is a low tier number. Bank Services PMI, low tier number. Retail sales out of Australia. And then we get the Cakegen Services PMI for July in China. That could be a mover, but it's not rated as a high tier number. So that's where that is for the S&P. The S&P is balanced overnight. 100% of the inventory basically is short. In other words, it's holding below the settlement slash closing price. So let's call it 41.19 or so. Settlement, official settlements 41.20.50. Do you remember that number, 41.20? That's your composite point of control in this region. So we settled right at it yesterday. We had the point of control right on top of it yesterday, and we're trading below it. So bearish, and then below us we have 40.81, which I talked about a little bit yesterday as a key figure to test to the downside, and we're likely to do that today. So 39 points of range basically with 40.95. So we're below the 4100. And the point of control is 40.95. We have the VWAP at these prices as well. So highly compressed is what the S&P looks like today. Let's take a look at it in pictures. Here we go. So this is what we've got on a market profile basis. Okay, so we have a market that has been running up. We had one-time framing so far, but yesterday put in a pretty blunt top, very weak compared to Friday's, and it ended up finishing lower, settling closer, lower than Friday's. And this morning we find ourselves below. This is a balanced profile from yesterday. Therefore, the value area is important this morning. We're likely to see the market test value from below. And I'm looking for shorts there. I'm looking for it to test the 81, which is right here. It's resistance turns support. Right in here, 40.81. If it breaks the 40.81 and comes back in and holds steady, then we still have some buying interest, even though the one-time framing on the daily would have been breached. We're about to breach it on the open, so I'm expecting flow to the downside today. We do have some weak structures below us. Again, that's something I covered yesterday as well, and I'm looking for this thing to rotate down into the 40.40 handle. So if we breach the 81 and we're not able to come back up and hold, we're likely to look for 40.40. It gives us about 35 points of range to shoot for, to hang tight. The big area to test, the over-under area, is, you probably guessed it, 40.16 and a quarter. So that's the immediate kind of important test area that we have below the 40.40. But let's trade one level at a time. In my opinion, if it does get into Thursday's range, it is very likely to push into 40.40. So that's where I'm looking to. That's what I'm looking to target today. Remember, we're not here to catch big swings or anything. We're here to nibble at low risk, low cost, low capital expenditure, using the futures, which are very capital efficient. Again, not suitable for all investors, but this is why I trade futures, and I've been trading futures for about 20 years. Spent 2 years trading equities in high volume. So that's where that stands. Looking at the intraday, switch from crude to S&P. This is the day. So, yeah, this is not showing the total profiles. Boop, boop, boop. So what do we have? We've breached the prior week's high yesterday. We kind of reached our arm above. We put our hand through that ceiling. We looked around, we fluttered around up there, and we fell right off. To me, that was a failed test of the prior week's high. And to me, that was an early indication that we need to look for a rounded top and for it to start selling off, which it's doing today. So to me, this appears to be a situation where we're likely to just roll back over into this 4070-ish area, but the key test again remains this 4040. You can see the stock zone right in here, a very clear low volume node, very clear low volume node over here, pretty decent price structure there. So I'm expecting this thing to kind of roll over and fall. So this is looks like, there we go. I was doing some research yesterday, so I changed my charts around and failed to bring them back to the way they're supposed to be. So we'll see the profiles for the overnight session here in a minute. ES is popping, but the ES has had its point of control down here with the full session VWAP. And as I said early on, the ES has held the overnight VWAP throughout the session. It's popping higher. It's testing the mid now at 4103 even or so, and it's likely to stall up here. We'll see what happens, but what we have is basically a balanced to drooping-ish to a B-shape-ish profile, mainly balanced, and I'm expecting this thing to kind of roll over, consolidate here, and explore lower prices. It's just this 81 area is just too meaty to ignore at the moment. So as we push higher, by the way, it gives us an opportunity. I'd love for this thing to push even higher from here into yesterday's balance, into yesterday's value low, because it gives us a better opportunity. Value low being 41.15, I believe, in the volume profile. If it goes up there, it gives us a really decent opportunity to capture a short with defined risk for the rotation down, for the breach of yesterday's low, which is 40.97, and for it to end the one-time framing up and then slide quickly with some protection into 40.81 and potentially 40.40. I don't know. Maybe I'm very hopeful here. Maybe a very slow day. Remember, the JOLTS job number comes out at 10. That may be a driver. But overall, we're looking at this thing kind of testing the value area. If it cannot hold the 41.15 value low, then it is very likely to push back to 41.20. The 41.20, as discussed last week, as our key target last week, as the key balance point for this big balance zone from May, June, 41.20 has settlement. It has the point of control from yesterday. Wow, shocking. The point of control from yesterday is on top of the composite point of control, the most valuable price in this balance zone. So yesterday was really a model for how a balanced market just holds balance. And so if it gets up there to 41.20 and chops around and continues higher, then the buyers are quite strong and they're not prepared to give up territory. We found our buyers this morning and we're looking for value high from there. So as a reminder, I don't care about value. You know how people who learn market profile talk about value area high, value area low. To me, none of that matters unless the profile is balanced, and yesterday's profile is balanced, because you don't have value just because your program is able to compute a value area for any profile you give it. Unless that profile is showing balance, is technically balanced, there is no value area, because a profile that has jagged, that's very jagged and in the price discovery mode, it's in price discovery. There is no value. It's not able to find value because it's in price discovery. Now, once it finishes the discovery process and is in value, Now I'm paying attention to the prior days, value low, value area high, the point of control, and so on and so forth. So we have massive magnet right in here immediately for this session, 4120. This is a big big magnet area, and so what we want to see is, does it push up as it's doing now? Does it push up and hold yesterday's low and start to squeeze through the 4115? If it squeezes through the 4115, I'm buying pullbacks into the 20 and into value high, which is going to be around that 30-ish area. That sets up a trade there. The more important trade, or the bigger trade, is that it tries to push into 4115, rolls over, and just impulses down. And if it impulses down, it's likely to break the higher lows or the one-time framing up on the daily, which then is likely to force people to have to liquidate, as those are key stop areas and so forth. And then it brings in this push towards 40.72 or so and 40.40. And those are the meatier, bigger trades to start with. Don't forget, we have U.S. non-farm payrolls and unemployment this Friday. The market's waiting for that. We have OPEC, and we have this geopolitical Pelosi, China thing going on that the world's scared of. So I'm not expecting the ES to push much farther up than it did just now. We're back at yesterday's open, and we rallied pretty good from yesterday's open. I'm expecting all of that to be defended, but if it isn't, it's okay. We're ready to take the trade into the 4120. Otherwise, we're looking for 4115 to kind of roll us over and turn us around. Does this make sense? That's in one long breath, that's the narrative today. I do need a vacation. I feel like I'm rambling because I'm tired. No time off this summer. Here, this is an example of a price discovery profile, in case you did not know. See how there are multiple distribution? This is a market that's trying to find balance and is unable to. So my platform is going to find the point of control, and it's going to give me a value area for this profile. I guarantee you, if I turn on the value area computation, it'll show me value for this profile. Here, let's do it. So let it compute, and it'll show me a value area for this profile. But there is no such thing as value and price discovery. When the market's not in balance and the market's not able to find both sides and get them to agree on prices like we did yesterday, there's no such thing as a value area. But given yesterday's action, we are very, very likely to have value get some respect, at least give us a test. So here, look at this value area. That's not a value area. That's a value area. That's not a knife. This is a knife. For those of you old enough to remember Crocodile Dundee, I'm as old as dirt right now. And enjoying it. Where's my profile? Still loading ticks. So anyway, I just want to leave you with that. I know that's a lot. I know that's a lot to digest here this morning. But we did, the key elements you want to look at is that we basically tested the prior week's high. We could not find continuous buyers through the prior week's high. That was expected. We are in major balance here. And then we rotated back down and we held 4120, and overnight we've had a selling push and the market's just dilly-dallying here at the 4100. So hands off at the open at the 4100, and we are looking to be rotating over this. It just tested this low right here and holding steady. So the key today is attempt to push higher, roll over, take out the 81. So the 81 becomes important on our price map. It already is. Take out the 81, test the 72. If it can't hold the 72, then we're looking for the 40. The next area will be the 40. That's the primary. The secondary is to continue to push higher, pull back, hold the prior range, hold the 4100, retest the 15, and if it takes out the 15, the pullback is along into the 20, and then along into the value high of 4140 or so. That becomes the key long trade, knowing that the 4120 is key. Okay, I'll leave you with that. Good luck today, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. All right, I'll catch you tomorrow morning. Take care.